Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining for Your Yes is Needed podcast, and we are continuing our Why Not series. And today's guest is Tori, and I met Tori in Atlanta at the Titan Clash competition, which is an NPC show, and we did the transformation class together, and that's how we met. And she is the overall winner of the transformation class. And so one of the things that we both can agree on is that in order to go into bodybuilding, you need a pretty much strong intention. So everyone's reason is different. So Tori, I want to ask you right away, what was your intention when you first got into bodybuilding, and when did you start?
So I'd always wanted to do a show since I was in high school, but it's one of those dreams that you never tell anybody. Like it's one of those, I want to do this, but you just think there's one category, right? Like you don't know that there's
right. You don't know like the different
world.
Classes. I agree. Yes.
Right. And so, through the years you go through it, and I went through tons of times of gaining weight and losing weight, and I'm in public safety. So there were times where you'd get on the health track, and then there's times that your life it's eating whatever's at a gas station. And so every time I'd go to a personal trainer, I would tell them I want to do a bodybuilding show. And, you could see in their face where they're like, okay.
Oh, so before we get into that, if you guys never met Tori or went through her profile picture, so the reason why she's saying this because Tori, what was your heaviest weight?
325.
325. And she lost 160 pounds?
162.
She lost 162 pounds naturally.
Yes.
And so that's why she's saying that the trainers would be like, so that's the reason why. Okay. So
they would see me come in at 3 something and be like, yeah, okay. I mean, and so I could see it in them, but I'm like, whatever. So, we train a little bit, and I had a trainer that maybe could have really seen that in me, but then COVID hit and everything shut down, so I had lost a little bit before that. Then I'd had like COVID right whenever it came, but didn't have a name for it at that time. And I was very, very sick. And so tons of rounds of steroids and antibiotics. And I'd gotten down to like maybe 260 on my own. And then right back June of 2020 is when I got right back up to 325. And I was like, how did this happen?
So you went down to 260.
Yes. And then from March to June, I got back up to 325. And I was like, how did this happen?
Yeah. So so when did you realize that you were gaining weight again? Because I know it sounds silly, but like when you lose weight, like to me, like I'm very aware when like you feel different.
Yes.
Like I gained 25 pounds since competition. Like it's not the scale I care about. It's how I'm feeling that's affecting me more than I can care less what the scale says. That doesn't even bother me. So I'm like, oh no, like we're not doing this because of how I'm feeling.
Right.
So when did you realize like, wow, I went back to how I'm feeling? When did I click to you?
Probably midway through this. Why am I so sick? Like what steroids and antibiotics on and off. And I just started working at our dispatch center too, which is 12 plus hours of sitting all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what is going on? Like, why do I feel so bad? And I'd had a full hysterectomy due to cancer cells and cervical cancer. We had to do a full hysterectomy. So I'm on hormone replacements anyway, just to feel normal. And so we were like, is my hormones out of whack? Like I have PCOS, like I have all these health things, but what is the problem? And all of my clothes that I was getting rid of, I was having to pull them back out of the bags because it's all I could wear. And whenever COVID happened, we didn't have to wear uniforms at work. So I didn't have that accountability of these are the pants I started in. I got to stay in them. So it was just like lounge pants all the time until I went to dispatch school in August. And when I went to dispatch school in August of 2020, I had to buy pants on Amazon that were like a 5X hospital scrubs that could fit me because my uniform pants didn't fit and we didn't have any big enough for me to wear to school. And I was like, this is horrible. Like, what happened? And so I'd started losing again, and I'd really just done it very unhealthy. I mean, I was eating maybe 600 calories a day.
Oh,
yeah, like I had cut down to nothing, and everything that I ate, it was only half of it, and it was like half of a side salad at Wendy's. That is like 20 calories.
Can I take this conversation to another topic just really shortly? Because so you lost 165 pounds, I lost 135 pounds naturally. And just for our audience, the first thing people ask you, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing they ask me, what's your diet?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So for those listening, from and I'm pretty sure Tori can agree, like the diet is the last thing on your list.
Yeah. Yes.
The discipline is the first thing that should be on your list, because from someone like Tori said, she dropped down to 260 and up 325. It's that easy when you don't have discipline. And like right now, I'm lacking discipline in my eating right now. But I'm aware, and I could be disciplined in other areas, but it's discipline is the thing that the number one question you want to ask is like, how do I stay disciplined? But the number one question people do ask is, well, what's your diet?
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that statement?
The amount of messages of, well, what exactly do you eat?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I eat the same thing every day, and it is carbs and rice and ground turkey and like really good whole bread. I have toast every morning, but it's what works for me. It's what my macros are. It's where we are for me to do it. But I literally eat the same thing every day. Nothing changes unless we change something. If my coach changes something, it is the same exact meal every day. And work used to make fun of me. They're like, let me guess, Tori's eating chicken and rice again. Yes, I eat chicken and rice at least one meal every single day. Like, so it's whatever works for me. And if I don't have that repetition, like I mess up when my coach is like, sure, you can have some fish. I'm like, don't tell me that. Because then I will manipulate something else somewhere. Like, just tell me what to eat, but everybody would send that, what are you eating? How are you doing it? I started walking a mile a day. And so once I got out of dispatch, I would want to move. We sat for 12 hours. Like, I would walk a mile a day, that kind of thing. So we have our gym in town, one of our gyms, we're blessed to be a very small town, but to have four really good gyms. And so I actually go to two of them. And one of them is very competition, bodybuilding, powerlifting focused. Like they put on competitions and all that kind of stuff. And my coach is actually the owner, and he's taken overall at some events. He's trying for his pro card, but I was like, I will never go to that gym, because I was like, I'm too intimidated to walk into that gym, because I am very good at this other gym in town that nobody is there. Nobody knows me. Nobody's there. I'm perfectly fine going in the middle of the night. And I happened to win a giveaway from him for 4 free platoon training sessions in October of last year, which was 2021. And I showed up, and one day I just randomly said, so I've had this dream. Like, I wanted to get on stage and do a competition. He was like, okay, let's do it. What? It was a different, okay. It was more like why not? But there's a lot of knots to my why. And he was like, let's do it. So I was like, are you for real? And he said, yeah. I was like, okay. And he was serious about, you're going to do this. And I didn't even know where the competition was going to be. I knew that, I may have to go to Texas where they have the big ones and that kind of thing. Cause our category is not close usually to anyone. And so there's
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. So I thought I was going to have to go there. And so that's sort of what we were looking at. But then in December, we were putting on a powerlifting meet at our gym. And I was like, so what about this powerlifting meet? And he was like, you want to do it? Why not? I mean, that was another one, like, sure, why not? And I got COVID 4 days before the powerlifting meet.
Oh, man.
I was like, and I had a runny nose. That's all it was. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So I would go in middle of the night, mask, everything, train, make sure I was still lifting right. He gave me most of that week off, you know, to rest right before we went to the meet. And I did that meet and I took overall for my division. I had never done one before, didn't even know what I was doing. Like, but I took first place in overall in my division or whatever. And I was like, how did this happen? Like, how did this happen? So we flipped me then. That's when we really started prep for our show. And there's this company that makes like protein cookies that was there at the thing. And they happened to be a sponsor at the event that you and I did. That's the only way I know about it. Is I saw they were going to be a sponsor and I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to go see them at an event. And I saw Transformation and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. It is in my state. Like, let's do it. So that's kind of where we went for, okay, like if you're okay is different than every other trainer I've ever had that said okay. So now I'm scared because what did I actually sign up for now? Like, okay. So yeah, that's kind of where we went with it. And what's funny is after you and I, like after we got off stage and we're sort of just sitting in the back, you know, and you're like, did I really just do that? Like, you know, your phone is blowing up and I was in the middle of messaging him and I deleted it because I got distracted. I said, this is not for me. I'm going back to powerlifting. Like, this was a learning experience. I'm so glad we came and did this.
Was that your first show ever?
Yes. Yeah. So I had never, and you know, I made my own suit because I was like, I don't want to put a lot of money into something that I don't know if I want to do this. And I am not girly. I'm a paramedic, you know. I mean, I know. Like the hair and the make, all that stuff. I was like, I can't even move. Like
I used to have dark hair. I had a much different style than I do now. And I never wore heels. I never wore a bathing one-piece suit. I never wore makeup. Like, so all of it was very new to me. I never walked in heels. Like the last time it was my quinceañera. I'm 41. Quinceañera when you're 15 years old. So yeah, it was. I did the drastic change because I'm like, I'm already doing something drastic. I might as well finish the drastic look.
Absolutely.
So I kind of gave myself permission to finish being drastic. I guess it was an excuse to do it. And but it was also a reason to continue ripping off band-aids, because if I ripped off one band-aid, I need to rip off more so that I can continue feeling uncomfortable, because this whole thing is uncomfortable for me. So that's the only reason why I had a whole new different look than before, because it was not my thing. This was not even a dream of mine. It was never a bucket list. So the fact that I have done so many shows just blows my own mind. So that's why I like to ask people, like, so why did you always want to do it? And yours is like it was always a goal of yours.
Yeah.
So what is your future for bodybuilding?
So I'm doing one more transformation show in October because I really wanted to do 2 this year, and not exactly realizing what that meant. Not realizing that meant I have 3 weeks to reverse. And I mean, we've done this since November. So I have 3 weeks to reverse, which was a spiral that, whoa, my mental health was ridiculous. And now we're back on again. And so I just found out yesterday, the judging criteria for us, they actually cut us off 2 weeks before show. So instead of me having 12 weeks, I now have like 8.
Oh,
yes. They want our final picture.
Oh, the final picture. Okay.
They want final pictures 2 weeks before shows. So we're judged by those. And also once we're on stage. Oh. What? Like, we shouldn't have reversed for 3 weeks. Like, I'm freaking out. But my coach is like, you're going to be fine. Like, you're going to be fine. It's okay. So that's a little freaky. But I've got that one in October. And then I want to take probably a year and maybe go into wellness. Like, we're going to see what my body likes, like whatever physique it likes and is comfortable in. And then I would love to have a pro card by the time I'm 40. That's going to be a lot of work. I'm 38.
Okay.
So that's a lot of work.
So let me ask you something. With prep. So for those that have, with prep, like it's a lot has to do with your diet. And a lot of, to me, a lot of time, like managing your time, because you have to fit in cardio, you have to fit in you're working out, you have to fit in meal prep. So it's a lot to do on top of everything of your personal life. And what has it taught? Like, what did it teach you? Like this whole shift, like this whole, like, it's a very disciplined sport. So what did it show you that you're like, man, I never knew about this, about me before, about this?
To put me first.
Oh,
like
tell me more about that.
Yeah. So I've never done that. I mean, I'm a paramedic, so it's always everybody else, you know, it's always take care of everybody else, do for everybody else, you know, in relationships.
Even in your personal life?
Oh yeah. In relationships, it was always for everybody else. Like I would always sacrifice whatever for other people. And I used to own a bakery for 9 years before I went back into public safety. And it was always for the customer, you know, like I was always customer based. So it was a very hard thing for me to be like, I'm sorry, I have to go to the gym. Like, no, you don't understand. I have to go to the gym today. And at work, it was so hard. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm out in the parking lot making laps, y'all. Like, can you just not sit down and watch a movie with us? Can you not? No, I have to get in my steps.
You know, I'm so glad that you're bringing that up right now. So, so audience, watch this. Like, I want to show you something. So I always give everyone a warning once they go through a transformation, that you hit a certain point where people close to you are going to start discouraging you.
Yes.
Okay. See,
yes.
Audience? I always say it's part of the package, which is the most disappointing part of your transformation.
Whether they know they're or not. Yeah.
And I it's like, I'm sad that I have to give you a warning that during this transformation, you're going to see a lot of things that's going to disappoint you. And you're going to hear a lot of things that's going to disappoint you. And I think it's almost a damn shame I have to give everyone a heads up. And so it blew my mind, because when you're much heavier, you're like, and I want to say is like, your weight does not reflect your personality. In my case, I will say just in my case, I was at my most miserable state. It was uncomfortable. I was in a lot of pain. I was sick a lot. But for some reason, it never made sense as I was transforming why I got the backlash like the way I did. And that just blew my mind. So as you were saying that, so did you experience the backlash of during your transformation as well?
Oh, absolutely. And like when I started and I had 2 gyms at dispatch, I walked in one day and the girls were so mean to me about, why do you think you need 2 gym memberships? Well, I'm spending less on that than you are a carton of cigarettes that you're smoking every day. Like, why does it matter what I'm putting my money into, you know? And everybody at work, Tori, can you please just take a bite? Here, I made this, just take a bite. I can't. Like, I cannot. And when you're powerlifting, it's a little different. Like you're treated differently, because it's like, oh, come pick this up. And you're like, okay, you know, and your meals are a little different too. You know, you're eating a little higher calories.
By landslide.
Yeah. And so it's a little different because everybody's like, oh, you're picking all this stuff up.
It's like cool.
Yeah. It's like really cool. But then whenever you're like, no, I have to walk. No, I'm the only one out at 11 o'clock at night walking. Yes, I know I need to sleep, but I also have to get in my steps and my cardio for the day. I know we've run 14 calls all day, but I still have to make laps. Like, then it's like, just come sit down. Or are you sure you have to go? Or can't you just make it up tomorrow? I don't eat enough food right now to be able to make up a workout tomorrow. It's not a workout. This is training. Like, there's a reason I have to get it in on the days that I do it. And it's so isolating sometimes. And you're so alone in that. And, you know, people are always like, I'd love to come work out with you. Ugh. Yes, but I'm doing things a little differently. I would love to be there with you while you work out and show you, but I have a time that I have to get in a pre-workout meal, a post-workout meal, and I have this time and I have to do it.
It's almost as if your discipline is offensive.
Yes, very much. Like they would get mad that I couldn't take a bite of a cake. Or family, I mean, I even told, like, I told my boyfriend and his mom, I was like, it was Easter. I think it was a holiday. I'm pretty sure it was Easter. I was like, please make sure your mom knows that this is not offensive. I can't eat her food. Like, it's okay. I just can't eat her food. I'll bring my own little food. Like, you know, I mean, that is where I was just like, this is so alone. Like, I even did a TikTok the other day about you're so alone sometimes. Like, you come home to a nice family and a full house, or you're at work and you're full, but there's this place of aloneness, not only in bodybuilding, but also in public safety, that unless you're in it, you just don't know it. And it's not one of those voids like, you know, God can't fill that void, that kind of thing. It's not that kind of thing, you know.
No, it's definitely a very isolated sport.
Yeah, very much.
And the reason for those that have never been to bodybuilding is because, like, we communicate with food sometimes. Hey, do you want to go out to eat? Hey, I'm going here after work. Do you want to go here? Or what are you doing this weekend? You want to go out to do this? And it usually involves food. And since your diet is very, very strict while you're in training, after show number 5, I taught myself how to be disciplined around food without being so, but that took a lot of tolerance. And so, but some people can't, which is fine. It's totally understandable. But it's hard. It's hard to be around of, especially as you're getting closer to show and your diet becomes much, much stricter.
Yes.
Sometimes it's like, I just can't handle it. I'm gonna stay home, guys. Right. Or you're just so tired that you don't want to go out.
Yes.
So it's like, and so you're like, you're not, and then after doing 10 shows, I don't get invited as much to any place because you're always busy.
Right.
So it's different. But then the audacity be like, hey, how do you get those abs?
What you just said you're not going to do. And I want to be so nice to people, and I want to answer their emails and be like, this is exactly what you do. But I know you're not going to do it. Like, I would love for you to. I would love for you to. But like, if you knew what this took, like, I would love to get you to a physique that you wanted to be, but you are not going to be able to eat exactly what I tell you to eat, that I eat every day. It's not sustainable for most.
It's not.
It's just not. And you know, the reverse diet. I get back from show and I go straight back to work on Monday. What does my crew do? They bring in a pizza party and they bring me a biscuit from our local place. And I was like, why are we celebrating with food? Like, are you for real? And I mean, I put on almost 30 pounds post show in 3 weeks, and I was not prepared for that. I was prepared for like maybe 5.
Oh, and I'm up a good 25 right now. 25.
I was shocked. But knowing it's not fat, like it's, you know, the salt that I've been taking in and all this kind of stuff, you know, when I was eating at 2,100 calories then for reverse, and I had just come off of, I don't know, I think we had finally gotten down to like maybe 12 for the day of show, like the week of show, a prep week, peak week. But like, I just wasn't ready. But they celebrate with food. And I was like, y'all, you know, and the community brings us so much food at the station. That's just, what else do you bring people but all these baked goods and y'all, like,
yeah. So and then all of a sudden everyone's your friend again.
Yes. Now
it's crazy, right?
We're able to eat and everybody's like, oh, we're getting to eat with Tori again. But see, I just started cooking my breakfast again yesterday on shift, and I started having all my meals, and they're like, you back on it? Yes. This doesn't stop. Just, I am.
I'm convinced that discipline is very offensive to people. That's what I've learned.
It is. And that's why
it like, triggers their insecurities, which blows my mind, because like, I'm like, you saw me at my worst. Like, there's a huge assumption that you would be happy for me, but you're more offended where I'm at now versus where I was. Like, that's very confusing to me, like so confusing. And I'll tell you why. I think it's very confusing to me because like, and this is why I don't watch TV anymore. I think like the media and like the people have a habit of saying, when is someone going to do something? I hear that too much. And I'm guilty at one time saying it until like I actually did something and I realized that's not the answer. No one's looking for the answer because
Right.
there's many answers in front of us, but we don't like that answer.
Right.
And so now I'm like,
oh yeah, exactly.
You get it.
Absolutely. I absolutely get it. And you know, I tried for weight loss surgery, and my mother had it done years and years ago. And so I tried for weight loss surgery and I was denied because, you know, insurance and all this other stuff, but I was denied for it. And I was like, I literally have no option but to do this on my own. Like, I don't have an option. I have to. Weight loss surgery is not the easy way out. It is just another way of being able to combat obesity and to be able to get your life back. But being told no, I was like, I don't have another option. Like, I have to do this.
So when was your breaking point where you were like, this is enough?
It actually happened in 2017. I was again 325. And I think it was being able to tie my shoes. And
I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
I hear that. So can you emphasize, like, can you go more into that?
It was just being comfortable and being able to tie my shoes. And because I owned my own business at that time, I had the retail bakery. I could pick what I wanted to wear, obviously, like what did we want to wear. And I always wore men's pajama pants, 3 to 4X men's pajama pants, because they look like chef pants. And I wanted to be able, like, I'd gotten to where I always wore flip-flops, or I always wore, you know, slide-on shoes, whatever was easier. But I realized I was also masking a lot of, I overcame a very bad PTSD thing with the ambulance years ago, like in 2012, actually 2009. And I overcame all that and got past all that, but I was hiding underweight. Like, I was hiding me and attention from men and that kind of thing over being heavy. And I finally was like, I cannot tie my shoes. Like, I had to wear shoes for some reason and had to tie them, and I couldn't tie them. And I was like, this is embarrassing. Like, I can't even get down here. Also, I couldn't get down to the altar and comfortably pray at church. And I was like, if I can't get down on my knees and comfortably pray, something has to change. Like, we're okay at our church. We were okay with laying out and sprawling out on the floor, you know, if we needed to. But like, I want to comfortably be able to kneel at the altar and pray. And that's where it kind of started, of me like, what do I do? I don't even know what to do anymore. Because, you know, it's, eat 1,200 calories a day. No.
There's a lot of information out there. So with you just started walking. You're like, I'm just going to move.
Yep. It was just walking because I sat all day at work. And I was like, you know what? I have got 30 minutes if I go really slow to walk a mile. And I was like, I'm just going to walk a mile a day. If it was raining, I would go to the gym. If it was nice outside, I would go walk down our main road in town. You know, I would just move. No matter what, I would try to move. And so.
And so we have about a few minutes left, but can you share when the weight gain started, and what did you use to mine came when I got out of the military, and I was very bitter. I can recognize that. And so my weight.
Oh yeah.
And so do you know when yours began?
Yes. So I moved back home. God had said, you're going to open a bakery in your hometown. Okay. So I moved back from Atlanta and opened a bakery here. And
where's here?
Oh, sorry, Toccoa, Georgia. So I'm about 2 hours north of where we were for the show.
Okay.
And so I moved back here, opened the bakery, but I never had an alcohol problem. I actually did, but I had a man problem. The alcohol led me to the men. And so I knew I stopped drinking, like became absolutely sober, moved back here, had the bakery, and started putting on weight because I started getting attention from guys that I knew from years ago. And I was like, no, I am married to Jesus. Like, no way, this is not going to happen. I didn't even know subconsciously I was doing that until years later, until after I was married. Yeah, my second marriage, after I was married again, that I was like, oh, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to hide. And now that, you know, we obviously have pictures of us in bikinis on Facebook, people are coming out of nowhere. And I'm like, I just have to watch that, you know, I'm proud of where I'm at. It's not for attention. It's not for that. I am proud of where I'm at, still sober. Correct. I fight that every single day.
So but can I ask you real quick, what were you hiding from?
Just men in general, just like almost that addiction of men. So that's what I was hiding from. If I was big, that's not attractive. You know, I mean, to me, I was like, if I'm big, then I'm just the sweet girl that owns the bakery, right? Like, that's all I was. See. That's all I was seen as.
And how old were you when you started realizing what you were doing?
That was probably 2017, whenever I decided to make a change, because I had gotten married in 2015, moved back here in 2013, gotten married in 2015. And I realized that's what I was doing, is I was trying to hide. And the bigger I got, the more I never got attention from anybody, which was good. But even never got attention from my ex-husband, not in a bad way, like we're friends, not in a bad way, but it was just, I was safe. That was a safe place for me until cancer diagnosis and PCOS, and then all the other things, and diabetes and all the other things pop up, you know, then you got to fix that. So I had to have a lot of healing from that.
I see. And when you went to tie your shoe one day, you were like, this ain't it.
Yeah. Yep. And, you know, going to the bathroom and that kind of thing. I was like, I'm not going to be uncomfortable in everyday activities. Like, I'm going to tie.
I remember having a conversation. So like, man, I got to hold my breath just to tie my shoe.
Yes. Yes. Or do the weird, like, put your foot to the side thing, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, my laces are on the side. Like, I'm not going to do this. Yeah. And I think I had to put my uniform back on one day for a skit we did at church. I had to put my uniform on, and my pants would not fit me. And I had to go to Goodwill and buy like a 54-inch waist man's pants to wear on stage for this skit in my uniform. And I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I cannot do this anymore.
I knew it was a problem when I would go to the store and I couldn't find pants my size.
Yes.
I didn't like shopping.
Oh, I hated it. That's why I only went to the men's pajama section, because I knew those fit. And that's what I wore every single day in public. I wore a white shirt and black and white checkered pants. And I thought people would know that they were chef pants. Everybody knew them things was pajama pants. Like, but clothes didn't fit me. And I couldn't get it at Walmart anymore. So there wasn't an option, you know?
I get it. So with 3 minutes left, I want to give you the floor for someone that's watching that finds it impossible to start over again at a weight that they've never seen before in their life. What would you like to tell them?
Just take that step. I promise, just take that step. Even if you don't get on the scale for a month, just move your body, change, just make a little change in what you eat. Change to water, you know, just water, but take a step and walk a few more steps every day. Just make that change in your movement, and it will make a huge difference. You'll feel better. Your joints will feel better. Your muscles will feel better, but just take a step. It will pay off. It'll absolutely pay off.
And do you encourage shortcuts?
No, there are no shortcuts for
there what are no doing. Shortcuts.
You can't hide anything when you're in a bikini on a stage. Like, there are no shortcuts. It is do the work or it will show. Yep. And drink your gallon of water or it will show.
and do you encourage people just to step out and do something that they never thought that was possible before?
Absolutely. Even that little bitty dream. I tell people all the time, you know, that little bitty dream in the back of your head, that dream that you're like, that is the stupidest thing. No one would ever do it. Get as close to it as you can, because I guarantee you that will be the dream that will be the most fulfilling for you, because you actually did it. Like
Mhm.
we learned to walk in heels. I can't do that. Like I didn't really realize that was part of the process. Like, you know, it's that part that changes you. It's not making the goal, it's getting to the goal. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. So thank you, Tori, for taking the time to be on today's podcast and sharing your story. You have a good book inside of you that everyone wants to read. I promise. And so can you just share your Instagram?
Yeah. So my Instagram is Sweetly Chosen Fit on IG. And so I do all my stuff's on there from paramedic to bikinis. But it's Sweetly Chosen Fit.
Yes, and she is getting ready for her next competition in October.
Yes,
And
October.
and I encourage y'all to follow her on Instagram so that you can see that anything is possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you.